Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. This is a short vlog on my first aquascape. Just a short introduction. My name's Danny. I've been a keen fish keeper for many years. I've kept everything from guppies to discus. I've built ponds. The last couple of years I've been concentrating on tanks for my kids, getting them into the fish keeping hobby and keeping me busy. And I thought it was about time that I built my own tank. This is a bit different as I was recently introduced to aquascaping. Takashi Amano is the pioneer in aquascaping. He created ADA, Aqua Design Amano, which is the top brand that sells everything to do with aquascaping. This particular style that I'm going to try and attempt to do is a diorama. This is effectively creating a landscape or scenery. Probably not the best one to do for your first one. It's probably a little bit harder, but we'll see how we get on. So I'm going to go behind the camera now. So this is the tank, obviously. This is a rimless tank in the low iron glass, which effectively means it's more easier viewing and doesn't affect so much inside of the tank by magnifying it. I was quite lucky with this tank. I've got it from a local fish shop. As you can see, I'll show you. It was out the back and no one wanted it because it's got a hole in it. It was originally made as a display tank for a sump filter, hence why they used the low iron, more expensive glass. Obviously it's got black silicone, whereas most aquascaping tanks obviously have clear silicone. I can live with that though. So I managed to find an inlet, which effectively was a pond inlet connector for liners. This was the only one I could find that would fit that hole, because for some reason they decided to drill a 70mm hole, so it's quite an unusual size to get fittings for. I acquired this little thing off the internet, which fits on there quite nice. You've got to imagine I've got to raise the substrate up, so a lot of that will be hidden. I've not decided whether to use that for the inlet or the outlet yet for the filter. I put a white background on the back just to take away any pipes or cables coming up the back, so they're not so visible. I do recommend doing this also for visual effect. Yeah, the light was a light that I already had from a previous tank. I know it's not big enough, it's not going to be adequate enough. Hopefully I can talk my wife into letting me get the light that I want, which is a twin star, which maybe we can talk about in the next video. But that'll have to do to start off for now. The cabinet was built out of 2 kitchen units, cut down. All this was obtained the week before lockdown, luckily. Obviously the cabinet's not quite finished. I need end panels to go on their sides, and obviously 2 doors. but obviously I can't go out and get them at the moment, but I can still carry on. I've been acquiring various products. We've got the Floral 407 filter, which is quite a nice size for this tank. You could arguably say it's too big for this tank, but what they tend to like is high flow rate in these aquascapes, high turnaround of water. So that I would have thought was going to be more than adequate enough. I went with the Tropica aquarium soil. There's hundreds of different types out there. There's the Amazonia, which is the ADA, what we spoke about earlier. They all range in price. To be honest with you, they're all quite expensive, but it's an essential part of the aquarium. These new types of soil acts as a substrate and soil all in one, which basically means you haven't got to cap the top of it. You can put it straight in the tank, and it acts as a base layer as well. There's various, obviously standard. I went with C-Chem Prime. This is to take the chemicals, mainly chlorine and chloramine, out of the water. C-Chem Matrix is the filter medium that I'm going to be using. It's the first time I'm going to be using that. I normally just use the ceramic rings that generally do come with the filters. But I've read good things about this stuff and it's highly recommended. It's basically a natural stone that's mined, and it's very, very porous. Even more so than your ceramic rings, or Cyprex as some people call it. Acquired various other products, nutrient capsules. These were all optional extras, which I was going to sprinkle on the bottom of the tank. We can talk about in a bit more detail in the next video. Underneath you can see there's a few modifications. There's the obviously outlet from the bottom of the tank. We've got the pipe, which at the moment is coming down and feeding through the bottom of the unit. Obviously once the filter goes in, that will be cut and connected to the filter. I've also run a 1/4 inch pipe for the water supply. Would make it easier to fill the tank up, because these type of tanks, the soils leach quite a lot of ammonia, so you have to do quite a lot of water changes, especially in the first 2 or 3 weeks, until it settles down. There's 2 ways of doing it. There's one way where you obviously put your hardscape in and then you plant the tank heavily and fill it up, get straight into it, and then concentrate on your water changes. And then there's the other type where you just fill the water up just to sort of the level of the soil or just below it, and then you plant all your low grown plants, 4-gram plants, your mosses on your hardscape, seal the top of the tank and let it grow. A bit like a terrarium. This way, some people call this the lazy way. I'm not entirely sure what way I'm going to do it yet. Maybe you can leave some comments or suggestions before we start phase 2. The water in there at the moment is to purely test the fitting on the bottom of the tank. It's been in there for about a week now. I ain't had no leaks, so that fitting seems to be doing the job. I thought I'd best test that before we fill the tank right up. I've got a small nano tank set up, which I'm going to show you. Which is basically going to be a holding tank for all the plants. I've ordered a lot of plants, so they're all here ready. But they can be held in the nano tank. If I decide I'll go with a lazy start, I'll still need the low growing plants. Yeah. So I'll show you the nano tank now quickly. Here's the small nano tank. So it's got the 407 on it already set up. The reason I've already set it up is because I thought, well, while we're waiting, I might as well set the filter up and get it up and running. Start the nitrogen cycle. This is effectively ammonia, nitrite to nitrate and so forth. So in my experience, this can only help in when I swap it over to the larger tank. Give it a kickstart. So we've got all the biological media already up and running. I've got a few mosses in there I've bought. I've had to write on the glass what they are. You probably can't see on the video, because I can't even see them from here, because I can't really tell what one's what until they start growing a bit more. Got a little bit of Siri stone in there, which I'm going to be using for the hardscape. This is a Japanese rock. It's used quite often in these aquascape tanks. It's actually illegal now to export it from Japan, so maybe that'll go up in value like gold. You never know. I've got a CO2, probably a bit of an old way of doing it now. It was quite popular at one stage. I find it works quite well on small tanks, because I haven't actually got no CO2 system yet, which is one of the things on my shopping list. Oh. This is it's basically a carbon plate, and you run electric through the carbon plate, and that creates CO2. It can be quite effective in softer waters. In harder waters, the plate tends to get a bit blocked up with obviously build up of calcium and so forth, and you have to keep taking it out and cleaning it. As I've discovered recently, after testing my water with a TDS meter, it's quite high. So this is another problem that I'm going to have to get around. We can talk about it in a bit more detail maybe next time. Yeah, so that's about it at the moment. So, thanks for joining me. I hope it weren't too boring. If you hit the subscribe button, then you can see the more exciting stage, the next stage. Putting all the hardscape in the tank, getting the soil in there. Like I say, if you're welcome to leave some comments. I've not decided on what way to go yet. Whether the heavily planted, fill it right up, or the other way, the lazy way. Yeah. So everyone keep safe. Stay in isolation. Find something to do, like I have. Take your mind off of it. And hit that subscribe button. And hopefully see you soon.